Hey, this is Rob Minton and welcome back to another Cash Flow Nair video. In this video, I want to share exactly how you can win the financial game we are all playing. And I do think it's helpful to look at this from the perspective of a game. This is a game we're going to play and we're going to try to win this game. And I think this is helpful because it takes the pressure off, right? Instead of everything we're doing being so super serious, it's like, okay, this is a game. If something doesn't go your way, it's just a game, right? No big deal. My suggestion is to think about playing the game of moving into the glorious position of FU. This is the game where you have financial peace. Okay, you don't really have to worry about money. And how you get to this position is that you have income, cash flow flowing in every single month from assets that you own and control, and you own your home free and clear. You have no debt. So if you think about that, if you own your home free and clear, you don't ever have to worry about someone raising your rent, someone telling you you can't knock down a wall, that you have to move, that you have to worry about interest rates changing, that you have control over your living situation, and that control gives you peace of mind. If you have cash flow flowing in from assets and your boss or something happens at work that you don't agree with or you don't really enjoy, something changes, you can let go of your job, you can walk away, and life is still good. You have control over the important things in life. Now, this is important because most people are not playing this game, right? The FU position is this field over here where we're trying to increase our ownership of assets. And this is a different game which most people play over here. And that game is build a very, very large net worth, right? They're trying to increase the value of their assets. So they're playing on a different field. And then other people are playing a different field, and that is to win the social status game, right? They want to have the biggest house. They want to have expensive cars, expensive clothes. They want to look successful financially. And I think those last two games are crazy games to play, and that's because you have zero control over the outcome of the game. If your goal is to build a high net worth and the market crashes, you just lost your game, and it wasn't because you did anything wrong. And the second game, the whole social status game of trying to look successful, and no one really cares, right? So maybe you buy a new house, they see your house like, wow, that's awesome. But after that first impression, they could care less about your new house. So now you're stuck paying for this massive house, all these expenses, and no one really cares about your big house. So now that we're playing, in my opinion, the right game, the position of FU game where we're trying to control the important things in our lives, there's only one way to win this game. And that way is to increase your ownership of income producing assets. And please notice that I said income producing, that the assets you own are paying you for owning them. That is Robert Kiyosaki's definition, and it's critically important for two reasons. The first reason is that if your assets are paying you for owning them, that guarantees financial success because of compound interest, right? The income you generate can be used to purchase additional assets. So you're going to be increasing your cash flow every single time you receive income from your assets. That guarantees financial success. Secondly, you'll never ever have to sell your assets. If your assets are paying you for owning them, there's no pressure to sell them. If you think about the retirement plan we're all taught to follow, you'll see that it's you build up your retirement account and then you start selling everything off to fund your living expenses. And the reason why you have to sell everything off is because those assets are not paying you for owning them. So increase your ownership of income producing assets is the only way that you'll be able to win your game of moving into the FU position. All right, the next step is to consider how to increase your ownership of income producing assets. And once again, there are only two ways you can increase your ownership of income producing assets. Now, I guess there's other ways, but you could marry into assets, win the lottery, you could steal assets, you can inherit them, but there are only two ways that we know for sure. The first way is that you can buy assets, right? You can invest into assets that pay you for owning them. So you can use your own money to buy assets. You could partner with other people to buy assets so that you own assets together. Or the third way is you could borrow money to buy assets. You could use leverage. Now, obviously there's some risk with this leverage idea, and I've talked about it in other videos. I'm not going to go into it here. But first way is to acquire income producing assets. The second way is to create income producing assets. And the primary way that you can create an income producing asset is to start your own positive cash flow business, right? You start this business, the business starts to generate a profit. That profit then is cash flow that you can use to pay your living expenses, to buy other assets. But there's another way that you can create assets, and that is to think about intellectual property, right? And this intellectual property is a very wide spectrum. Create music, art, movies, videos. You can write a book. You could do courses. You could do training programs. You could create an app. You could create some type of software program. a marketing system that provides leads or new customers for small businesses. There are unlimited opportunities to create assets in this intellectual property umbrella. Now, you might be wondering why I'm spending so much time on this, and I'm spending time on this because this idea that I've just shared with you allows you to focus. You can now start to look at your day-to-day actions, your day-to-day routine, and see, is your day-to-day routine congruent with the steps you need to take to win this financial game, to move into the position of FU? Did you buy any income-producing assets today? Did you buy any income-producing assets yesterday, last week, last month? And if your answer is no, then that means you are not making any progress toward the financial position of FU. You are not winning your game, right? You are not making the passage of time profitable for you or your family. And please understand that winning this game and moving into the FU position is not easy, right? It requires perseverance, it requires discipline, it requires resourcefulness. Once you step into this field and you start playing this game, you're going to get knocked down, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have to get back up, you're going to have to dust yourself off. This is how you win any game. Watch a football game, doesn't go well, right? You have to get momentum going, have to learn from your mistakes. This is the game we are playing. And remember, I said it's very helpful to think of this as a game because it takes the pressure off. It's just like, okay, no big deal. Get back in there and run the ball. And if you really want to make massive progress toward winning the game of FU, my suggestion is to start tracking your daily cash flow. Like, how much cash flow are you collecting per day? So let's say you buy an asset and it pays you $300 each month of cash flow, and there's 30 days in a month. That one asset now has increased your daily cash flow by $10. And if you start to track and monitor and measure your daily cash flow, I'm telling you, your life will change within the next year, 2, 3 years. Think about the compounded impact of increasing your daily cash flow. That impact accelerates with each passing week, each passing month, each passing year. And we know from Deming that what we track and monitor and measure improves, right? So if you step on the scale every morning, you're probably going to lose weight. If you start to track your daily cash flow, you're probably going to increase your daily cash flow. If you would like to learn how to move into the glorious position of FU, grab my book below this video. In this book, I'll show you step by step how you can increase your monthly cash flow. You can use that cash flow to pay off all your debt so that you can live in this position of financial peace where you never have to worry about money again. Well, I hope this video was helpful, and I will catch you in the next one.